Okay, so it's been more than a few days since my last video about my journey to conceive. And I stopped on pregnancy 5. And the part I forgot to mention, that these things are like hitting me like memories. Every time I post a video, I remember things that I forgot to mention. So where I left off was I was already in my 9th month. I had 3 more weeks left before I would have my C-section to have my daughter. And what I remembered was that when I was about 6 or 7 months, they had asked me if I wanted to tie my tubes. And I thought about it. And the good thing was I could sign up to do it, but then change my mind on the day of the C-section if I wanted to. So I signed up to do it. And so now fast forward, I'm 9 months. We don't see a heartbeat. We don't feel movement. I'm freaking out. I still don't remember who watched my son, who got my girls from school. I just know my husband showed up at the hospital. I hear the nurse whispering to him. I go to the bathroom, and then they take me to a room to get prepped for an emergency C-section. But this time the nurse comes in, and I already know what she's going to tell me. But I was just praying that a miracle happened. And she said, "I'm sorry, but we don't see a heartbeat, and so the baby didn't make it." And even though I knew this, when I didn't see the heartbeat on the ultrasound, and I couldn't hear it when they put the machine on my stomach, and I wasn't feeling her movements, I lost it. And my husband started crying. And then he gets a text message from my mom, from my sister-in-law, and he's telling them what happened. And obviously we're beside ourselves. And I remember thinking we had named her. So when I was like 3 or 4 months, we were thinking of a name, and my sister-in-law mentioned a name, and I mentioned a name, and my husband is so good at putting names together. He put the names together, and I was with my sister-in-law at the time, and I told her what he said, and she goes, "Oh shit, like that's bomb." And so we already had her name picked out when I was 4 months pregnant, 3 or 4 months pregnant. And so now we're here, and I'm like, we named her. And my husband's like, "You know what? It doesn't matter. That's still her name." And we are just, I was hoping to be able to get through this. Oh my God. We were both devastated, obviously. And so the thing that I have to like bring together is, I told you guys when I told my story of my first child being born, she was an emergency C-section, that a different doctor did the C-section because my doctor was doing rounds and it was an emergency, like it wasn't planned. So the thing that brings us full circle is that her daughter is now a GYN, and she's my doctor doing this C-section this time. And she comes in and she's like, "I'm really sorry." She was like very sweet. And it was during COVID. She's like, "I know I'm not supposed to do this." But she came and she gave me a hug. And that's why it's so important for doctors to have a great bedside manner, because that's just a difficult situation to be in. And she's like, "Okay, we're gonna do the C-section." I don't even remember what time it was. I think that it was like maybe 10 or 11 something. They're like, "We're gonna do your C-section at noon." And so I'm just sitting there rubbing my stomach, like praying that like just some miracle happens. And 12 o'clock comes. I'm like, what the hell's going on? And The nurse comes in, oh, someone had an emergency C-section, so we're going to have to push you back another, 45 minutes. And I'm getting pissed because now I'm already upset and emotional and angry. I'm like, oh, so the woman whose child is not alive in her womb anymore, can wait. And I wasn't in my right mind, because I know that in my right mind, I would have been like, you know what? Yes, her baby's still alive. It's an emergency. Get that baby out. I know what it feels like to be in that situation. I was the first time I gave birth. So, but I was just so angry. And then I started thinking all these other things. I started blaming the doctor because he didn't give me a specialist knowing my history. I started blaming him also because I asked for an extra ultrasound. Nobody did it. I barely saw him. And then I started blaming myself. And I'm like, what mother doesn't know when their child is in need or in pain or suffering? And then I started thinking all those hiccups I felt. What if that was her, struggling? And I'm just like thinking it's a freaking kick or whatever, that it counted as a kick. My mind is just going everywhere. And that's the part of grief. You're heartbroken, you're crying, you're angry. And I was in those moments for the hour or whatever I was waiting to have my C-section. And I will stop there. And thank you guys for listening. Like I keep saying, I'm not trying to scare anybody from having children. I'm just hoping that my story helps someone, especially let people know that they're not alone. If you have questions, or if you know anyone that's been in this situation, please repost and share. Mom and dads go through this. I know us as women, we carry the child and we felt everything, so it breaks us more. But the dads, my husband, was broken. And so we need to account for their feelings too. So if you know any men, you can also send this video to them. And I appreciate you guys listening to my story. It's been 7 minutes, so I'm sorry it was this long. I'll see you guys tomorrow.